What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another Fate video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at one of the upcoming 5-star characters for the new event. That's going to be Space Ishtar. So Space Ishtar is probably one of the most sought after servants in Fate for the North American players or the global players. We've seen her doing some pretty amazing things over on JP for a couple years now, and we have all been itching to get our hands on her. Not just because she's a Rin face, but because she's actually a really good character. And we're just going to go through and talk about her skills and stuff and why she's such a good character, at least in my opinion. So she will be a 5-star Avenger. At level 90 she will have 13,041 HP and 12,612 attack. This ranks her 8th overall in attack and 78th overall in HP. And, you know, having that really high attack stat is going to be very beneficial for her with her utility. Her star absorption is really not that good. She's really not a crit character, only having 29 star absorption and 6% on the star generation. Her Noble Phantasm generation is pretty solid at a 0.69%, and on defense it will be 5%. So all in all, Space Ishtar isn't the most overpowering character in the game, but where her strengths lie is in her utility and her farming capabilities. So she has a really good kit of skills to back that up, and her first skill will increase her own attack for 3 turns. This will also increase her own attack for all allies except herself for 3 turns, and this will apply charm immunity to all allies except herself for 3 turns. This will be on a 5-turn charge time at max level, and you get some pretty good percentages there. You get your own attack increased by 20%, and then for the allies you get a 30% increase to your attack. Very good, very powerful opening skill. The charm immunity isn't anything crazy, but it is helpful in those situations. But yeah, at the end of the day, just a very good attack boosting skill. Her second skill is really the skill to talk about here. So it's going to start off by increasing her own Noble Phantasm strength 1 time over the course of 3 turns, apply invincibility to herself 1 time over the course of 3 turns, and then she will also change her own Noble Phantasm card type to the card type of choice. So this is a very unique skill where she's able to actually change the class of her card. And this is why she has such good utility, where she can fit into pretty much any team, because you could choose to either have a Buster Noble Phantasm, an Arts Noble Phantasm, or a Quick Noble Phantasm. And being able to do that, you can utilize her with pretty much all of the meta support teams. So like Scotty, Merlin, when Castor Artoria comes out, and when Tamamo comes out in the future, she fits into those teams very well. And you have your wave clearing farmer just like that because of her second skill being able to change that Noble Phantasm to fit into all those different teams. And you do also get a 20% increase to your Noble Phantasm strength as well. And you do have a little bit of survivability with that invincible. So overall, it's a fantastic skill. It's on a 5-turn charge time, and it's just fantastic. And the Noble Phantasm card change is for 3 turns as well, so you can loop it and have that Noble Phantasm stay where it's at. Overall, just a very good skill. It just makes her utility just go through the roof. And then for her final skill, she is going to increase her own Noble Phantasm gauge, and then she'll have an 80% chance to increase her Buster card, Quick card, and Arts card effectiveness for 3 turns. They are all separate percentages, so you could get 2 of them to work, you could get 1 of them to work, you could get all 3 of them to work, or you can get none of them to work. It's not a one-shot for all 3, so it is a little weird how that works. I wish it would just give her the rank up and give her a 100% chance. Like, I hate percent-based skills. I say it every time we have one of these. 80% is pretty high, so odds are you're going to get it to go off. But if you're trying to do a quick thing and you don't get the quick card to go off, then, you know, it kind of hurts you a little bit. And you also do have a 50% battery, which is going to be very helpful for looping and farming. And, you know, it's so nice to have. And again, this goes back to the utility. It's not that she just increases her Buster card effectiveness, she increases all 3 of them. So if you're using her in a Buster team, you have that. If you're using her in an Arts team, you have that. And if you're using her in a Quick team, you have that. And then you can combo that with her Noble Phantasm and change it to the card type that you're using her in for the team, and you're good to go. There's very little that Space Ishtar cannot do. As for her passive, she has 6 passives, so I had to break it up into 2 different graphics here, which is very rare that a character has this many passives. But overall, she doesn't really have too many unique passives per se. She does have the Avenger one, which gives you really good NP generation, so you get 22% increase when you're damaged. So that one's pretty good. You get the Core of the Goddess with damage plus, and then you also have the the base NP gain every turn for your gauge. And you do have a critical strength increase, not too great there, but it is something. So all in all, for her skills, I'm gonna give her 4.5 stars for her skills, just because of that percent-based chance on her 3rd skill. It is 80%, but the fact that you still have that chance of failing the attack boost it could derail you in some tougher situations. So I just wish it was 100% chance. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't get it, but it's still nice to have that insurance that it's going to happen. So I did take off half a point there. As for her command card deck and her Noble Phantasm, she has 1 quick, 2 arts, 2 busters on her command card deck, with 4 hits on the quick, 2 hits on the arts, 3 hits on the buster, 5 on the extra attack, and 3 on her Noble Phantasm. So a pretty good variety of hit counts there. And her Noble Phantasm will deal damage to all enemies, and this will also increase her own extra card attack for 100% for 1 turn. And then on the overcharge, she will increase her own Noble Phantasm strength for 3 turns. So it's not the most overpowering, unique Noble Phantasm out in the game. It definitely gets the job done. The unique aspect here is that depending on which card type you have, she's actually going to do a different amount of damage. So the percentages are there for you guys to see. The quick Noble Phantasm is actually going to be the highest damage dealing, while the Buster one is going to be the lowest. Not sure the reasoning behind that, but that is what it is. So you definitely want to utilize her more in quick teams and arts teams if possible. But she does have the capabilities for Buster teams, and I'm pretty sure with Tamamo out now on JP that you can loop with her Buster. Haven't tested it out yet, but I do think it might be possible to do it that way. If I'm wrong, just correct me in the comments. That's not something that I tested out before I make this video. I mainly use her in arts teams because I only have Caster Artoria on JP. But once she comes out on NA, I'll be testing her out with a whole bunch of different other teams like Scotty and Merlin. And then when Tamamo does come out, I'll definitely be making some teams with her there to test it out. But all in all, really good Noble Phantasm. And she's an AoE, so that is where the whole wave clearing farming character comes into play. Typically though, if you are going to use her as your primary farmer / damage dealer, I do recommend getting NP level 2 for her to have the extra damage for all of your possible Noble Phantasms. You get a very sizable increase from damage from level 1 to level 2, so at least level 2 for NP levels is something that you should be looking at. I know a lot of people are going to go for MP5, myself included. I'm going to try and go for MP5 for Ishtar if I can. We'll see how the wallet feels about that when she does come out. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a very unique Noble Phantasm, but it is a very powerful Noble Phantasm, and it gets the job done. All in all though, for her damage, I am going to give her 4 stars for that. She's very good at clearing waves and farming, but if you're going up against a single boss, she does lack a little bit there. She is an Avenger, so she doesn't get too many bonuses for damage. So ultimately though, she's not going to be hitting like a truck, but she's going to be doing enough damage to get the job done most of the time. So she do has those skills to increase her attack as well. But yeah, 4 stars for her damage. Her critical ability is pretty much non-existent, so I'm going to give her 3 stars. She does have a couple passes to boost it up, but outside of that, she has nothing for crits, and she doesn't need anything for crits because that's not her function as a character. So really, not much to talk about there. Her Noble Phantasm, I'm going to give her 5 stars. She has the MP battery. She has, 3 potentially different Noble Phantasms that you could use. They all do the same thing, but they're different cards, so you can use them into different teams. She's got pretty good generation as well. So, you're going to be able to loop with her, and pretty much when you have a looper, it's hard not to give them 5 stars for their Noble Phantasm. Her survivability will get 4 stars. You know, this is kind of the opposite of the damage thing. She's an Avenger, so she's not going to be taking too much extra damage from a lot of the classes. She does have the, you know, that one-time invincibility as well, which could be very helpful for dodging noble phantasms. So she's not the tankiest character out there, but she can definitely survive, you know, like critical situations if you plan it out pretty well. For her support, she's only going to get 3 stars here. She's not really a support character, but she does have the attack buff and the charm immunity for the team. So she does get a little bit of a bump there. I did think about switching out support for utility for her in this instance because, you know, as the character she is, her utility would definitely have gotten her 5 stars, which would have increased her rating a little bit to where I feel like she should be, but I didn't feel like it was fair to change her grade, just like the categories, just to give her a higher ranking. So we're gonna stick with this. We've used this for all of our characters, so we're gonna stick with it. But that will give her an overall ranking of a 3.9 out of 5. Now, like I just said, I do think that she does belong in a tier above that just because of her utility, but I don't really grade on utility. Maybe it's something I can look at bringing back, but for now, that's where we're at. So she's 3.9, but she's definitely a better character for that. Her utility is through the roof. You can use her for farming pretty much anything, as long as it's not like a single target boss at the end. If you have like a wave of bosses, you can pretty much clear just about anything in the game. I'd say probably about 80-85% of the things you would need to farm, you probably can use her for. So yeah, she's just an overall fantastic character. Going to be one of the most used characters in the game. Now, the one caveat to that is the fact that she really shines after Caster Artoria comes out, which is going to be for the anniversary next year. Now, you can still utilize her and still use her, and you could probably, you know, use her with like Scotty teams, but once Caster Artoria comes out is definitely when she's going to gain traction and become a very used character in the game. The other thing here is that she requires 45 eggs, which is very difficult to get. So if you didn't farm for those eggs in the raid event for the Halloween event that just passed, you're probably not sitting pretty with those eggs. And especially if you leveled up Arjuna Altar, then you probably are very low on eggs. So unless you want to spend time farming in this story to get those eggs, you might be sitting on on Space Ishtar until Caster Artoria comes out as well. But Caster Artoria needs eggs as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind, I guess. But I did farm for those eggs, so I do have them, and they are available and waiting for her when she comes out. So just keep those things in mind. I would definitely say Space Ishtar is a character to get, a character worth pulling for, but maybe don't pull for her right away if you're not a huge fan of the character, because she won't give you immediate success, but she'll definitely pay off in the long run. Anyway guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about Space Ishtar in the comments down below. Are you going to pull for her or not? Or are you going to wait for her in the future? What teams are you guys going to use to combo her with, and all that fun stuff? So I am going to leave you guys here with her noble Phantasm, and I will be back shortly for the Calamity Jane's character spotlight, and I will see you guys then.